What if one day, in an abandoned house forgotten by time, you discovered an old journal? And inside that journal was the story of your future? And what if the final page contained your name? Sounds like a movie plot, right? But for Emre, it was a terrifying reality. This isn't just a spooky tale. It's the chilling true story of Emre, a sharp investigative journalist who simply vanished without a trace after spending a single, fateful night inside his grandfather's crumbling, abandoned mansion. Get ready to dive deep into a mystery that will make you question everything you think you know about fate and the future. Emre wasn't your average reporter. He chased stories others wouldn't touch, always seeking the hidden truth. When his grandfather's mansion, abandoned for decades, finally came into his possession, Emre saw not just a dusty old house, but a potential goldmine of untold family secrets. He'd heard whispers, chilling local legends about the place, especially concerning his grandfather's eccentric final years. A journalist's instinct, a burning curiosity, these were the forces drawing him deeper into the mansion's shadowed past. Little did he know, he was walking into his own future. The mansion itself was a character, a brooding behemoth of Victorian architecture, cloaked in ivy and history. Locals avoided it, muttering tales of strange lights and unsettling sounds. But Emre? He wasn't deterred. He decided to spend a full night there, alone, armed with his camera and recorder, hoping to uncover architectural wonders or maybe, just maybe, a forgotten family relic. The night he chose was particularly ominous. A violent thunderstorm was forecast, adding a dramatic, almost theatrical backdrop to his solo investigation. Talk about setting the mood. As dusk fell, so did the heavens. The storm hit with brutal force. Rain lashed against the mansion's decaying windows, and thunder rattled the very foundations of the old house. Emre, undeterred, moved from room to room, his flashlight beam cutting through the oppressive gloom. Every creak of the floorboards, every groan of the wind-battered timbers, echoed through the cavernous space. It was a symphony of chaos, a perfect prelude to the unbelievable discovery awaiting him in the mansion's rarely accessed study. This wasn't just weather, it felt like a warning. Deep within the study, under a thick layer of dust and forgotten books, Emre found it. Not a hidden treasure, not a secret passage, but something far more intriguing, a leather-bound journal, brittle with age. It looked unremarkable, almost deliberately hidden. But as he wiped away the grime, the intricate, almost ancient script on the cover became visible. His grandfather's initials, barely discernible, hinted at its origin. With his heart pounding a rhythm against the storm's fury, Emre hesitated. Was this just another dusty relic, or something more? The answer was about to unfold. Ignoring the storm raging outside, Emre carefully opened the journal. The first few pages were personal reflections, mundane entries from his grandfather's past. But then, the entries shifted. They began describing events, not from the past, but from a future that hadn't happened yet. Details so specific, so precise, it sent shivers down Emre's spine. He recognized places, people, even conversations from his own life, events that were yet to occur. This wasn't a diary, it was a chronicle of tomorrow. His skepticism battled with a growing, terrifying realization. Each page Emre turned deepened the abyss of his disbelief. He read about a journalistic breakthrough he was striving for, details of a new relationship just beginning to blossom, even a petty argument he'd had with a colleague that very morning. The journal wasn't just vague prophecies, it was an exact roadmap of his next few weeks, months. Imagine that. Every tiny, insignificant detail, perfectly chronicled decades before it happened. Who wrote this? How was it possible? The logical journalist in him screamed for an explanation, but the sheer impossible reality overwhelmed him. Outside, the storm reached its terrifying crescendo. Wind howled like a banshee, and lightning illuminated the mansion in stark, ghostly flashes. Inside, Emre frantically flipped through the remaining pages, a cold dread seizing him. He felt trapped, not just by the storm, but by the relentless march of fate described in the journal. His own life, pre-written, every moment accounted for. The idea was chilling, suffocating. He raced towards the end, desperate to find an answer, a loophole, anything to break free from this preordained path. The final page loomed, a horrifying blank slate. And then he saw it. The very last page. Not blank, as he'd hoped, but filled with a single, neatly written entry. His heart stopped. There, at the bottom, just before the binding, was his own name, Emre. The entry described, in agonizing detail, the exact moment he would discover the journal, reading these very words, on this very night, during this very storm. It ended with a stark, terrifying conclusion, and then, he vanished. A wave of icy terror washed over him. The journal wasn't just predicting his future, it was describing his present. And his imminent disappearance. What happened next remains shrouded in mystery. The storm broke just before dawn, leaving the mansion soaked but silent. When Emre didn't return calls, his colleagues grew worried. They found his car parked outside the mansion, but inside, nothing. No Emre. No sign of a struggle. The journal? Gone too. Just an empty, echoing mansion, and the chilling absence of a man who'd chased too many truths. Police launched an investigation, but found no leads. It was as if Emre had simply dissolved into the storm, taking the journal and its terrifying prophecies with him. Emre was never found. His disappearance remains one of the most baffling cold cases. Was it truly the journal that sealed his fate? Did reading his future doom him to fulfill it? Or was there a darker, more earthly explanation hiding within the mansion's walls? The story of Emre, the journalist who vanished after finding a journal that foretold his own end, forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about free will, destiny, and the thin veil between what we know and what might be. What would you do if you found a journal describing your future, ending with your name and your disappearance? Think about it.